Back to the mind of Opex. Wacha! Cha! Back again. Another video today. So, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about lack of arguments and a lot of stuff like that. Because, especially like, let's say on the internet, social media, stuff like that, YouTube comments, people say ridiculous notions without arguments, facts, reason, or evidence. They'll say things like, Trump is Hitler, you know, a reincarnation of Hitler. And I see this all the time. I have a joke app, and that was actually something someone actually told me. On my joke app, instead of saying a joke, I said, you know, rate for Trump, comment for Hillary. Who do you want? This is a joke, or this app, a poll for this app. And he literally said, well, anyone but Trump, obviously Hillary, because Trump is the reincarnation of Hitler. And instead of arguing with him, because clearly he didn't have any facts, instead of arguing, I just let it be. That's my style. You know, if you don't have any arguments or facts or reason or evidence, then we're not going anywhere. And if you believe this actually to be true, then there's something wrong with you. So this video is going to be based on these type of mindsets. And I've been seeing this since I was a child, where somebody says, this is it, it's this way. Okay, can you prove it? My feelings are really terrible versus this. I don't have an argument. You know, that's pretty much it. If you resort to violence, that means you don't have an argument. If you resort to hateful things, you don't have an argument. If you don't like somebody, that's fine. You know, like, especially on the Trump thing, because this has got to be the biggest one. People hate Trump. I don't see it. I don't see why you would, but hey, I don't like people too, you know? But, most of the time, when people don't have an argument, they say non-arguments. So they'll say, you know, Trump is the reincarnation of Hitler. Okay, from an intelligent mind, someone who uses reason, evidence, logic, anything like that, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay. The only similarity I see is Trump has a movement, Hitler had a movement. Their logic, their stances, Hitler was a socialist. That's basically what Nazism is. It's like socialism. Hitler wanted to take away guns. He wanted things of that nature. Trump is completely opposite of that. Trump is like American, you know, like capitalist. So we have a socialist versus a capitalist. Trump wants guns. He's pro-Second Amendment. To defend themselves against tyranny, the whole nine. So, when you look at Hitler and then Trump, you can bring up logical arguments through reason and evidence that clearly these aren't, you know, the reincarnation of Hitler. First off, you have to start explaining the reincarnation process. How is this Hitler? Maybe it's like Hitler. Maybe you can say, hey, he's kind of like Hitler in this sense or this sense. But no, you don't have any logic. You don't have any reason. You don't have any evidence towards this. So clearly, A, you can really not understand who Hitler was, which is fine. You don't understand who Hitler was. You don't understand who Donald Trump is. That's fine. You don't understand who he is. Or second thing is you're just uttering complete nonsense without reason and evidence. You're just saying something and then you're forcing yourself to believe it, and then you're trying to force other people to believe it based on a lack of evidence and reason. Of course, that's just one thing, like reincarnation of Hitler as Trump. Like, that's just one experiment right there where this works, but there are countless. There's millions of examples like this, and I'm sure in your day-to-day life, you know somebody who talks in emotion and, you know, anger about something, but they don't have an argument. So This video is basically to make people start becoming more aware. Now, of course, if you don't have an argument, you sit down and shut up. You listen to somebody who has an argument, and then you can start applying either facts or their argument into your belief structure, into existence in your mind. But if you don't have any logic or reason, like, for example, I say there's no such thing as space. I provided an argument. You know, I'm not just out there saying space doesn't exist and I have no logic behind it. And you have to believe me that space doesn't. No, I'll sit you down, and I'm much better one-on-one to explain things instead of just, even explaining on the camera, I'm okay, I guess. But if I'm in like a group, or like if I have to speak in a group, it's a lot more difficult for me because there are people who don't want to provide decent arguments on their side. They just want to yell, you know, like for example, like if you're a Trump supporter, you're this or that and this and that. But when reason and evidence points this is not how a Trump supporter is, then it's a whole nother ball game. You're just saying, well, you're racist, or you're a white supremacist, or you know what's the other ones? I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the media and shit like that, but people think I'm a Trump supporter. I keep trying to explain to people, and this is like the biggest thing for Trump supporters is, you know, anybody but Hillary, please. You know, Gary Johnson isn't much better, you know, but Trump's the best candidate. You know, if I believed in polling and stuff, I would go for Donald Trump. So people think I'm a Trump supporter, like I'm donating to the guy. No, but I can bring arguments that make him a much better president than the other ones. I provide arguments through reason and evidence. You got to have evidence, right? Now, when I'm just speaking my mind like this, I'm trying to portray evidence to you and reason, especially reason, you know, but I'm not here to fact check anything. I don't believe that is the way to go. But when you have evidence, like, if you have evidence in a situation, you can start up an argument. If you don't have it, then it's a non-argument. You can't just say, well, I feel this way. That's not an argument. You know what I mean? Like, it bothers me that my whole life I've been trying to be like, okay, this is like, for example, if I'm a Christian, like I grew up a Christian, I would have arguments toward the Christianity mindset. But then, you know, like when you would talk to an atheist, this sounds like a fantastic argument, right? A Christian versus an atheist, right? Great argument. There's a lot of points you can make. But why is it that atheists, I'm not saying atheists as a whole, like, but generally, atheists would have a non-argument. They wouldn't have an argument. They would just try to debunk your arguments. You know, but right now, in my consciousness, I can have very, very, very valid points for both sides. I can come up with these in my head. And then I would argue these points instead of just saying, you're just a typical Christian, you're just dumb, you don't know any better, you read from a book and think that's real. And then the atheist goes and starts reading from a science book. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, no one can think for themselves? But I can create very valid arguments. And I think that's the problem with everybody else. Not everybody, but, you know, a decent chunk of the Western population is that they react on emotions and feelings, which is, I don't know if you know this, it's a woman's trait. Women portray themselves, or they speak in emotion and feelings. And that's fine. I'm 100% cool. That's in their genetic makeup. But when men start doing it, get to my last video if you want to watch that, where I talk about the feminization of men. Men are being trained to be emotional wrecks instead of being logic and reason and, you know, intelligence based. You know, you need to provide an argument. If you want to create a case for something, you need an argument. To have an argument, you need reason and evidence. If you don't have reason and evidence, you don't have a case altogether. You don't. It's null and void. You can't just be like, you know what? The earth is round. Okay, what's your reason and evidence. Well, I was taught it in school. They gave us a globe. Duh. You know, everyone knows the Earth is round. No. Provide me some evidence. Give me some reason. Create an argument so you can state a case. Oh, the Earth is round. What are you, dumb? Okay, well, I'll give you tons of information on a case for the flat Earth. Now, personally, again, I don't know if you don't know me, I don't run on a belief structure. I don't ever find empirical data and just say this is, objective reality, like the Earth is flat or round, like I pick a side. I don't do that. I have tons of evidence that can support both models. But if you don't have an argument, then you don't have an argument. You lose. It's pretty much that simple. You can't just be like, the Earth is round, you dumbass. We all know this. I mean, what do you live in? The fucking, the 2nd century? That's not an argument. That is not an argument. Get some reason and evidence into your arguments so you can create an argument. It's pretty much that simple. If you don't have reason and evidence, I'm sorry, you're not, if you're going up into a presidential debate, you don't go up there stupid. Ignorant, sorry, wrong word. You don't go up there ignorant. You got to know what's going on. You got to be aware of what's up, You can't go into a debate, a presidential debate, if you don't know what's going on. And then just start spitting out hateful words at the other person. Ha, I won. I called him a racist. I won. Yep, I win. It doesn't work like that. That's not reality. That's just fucking. You don't have an argument. Without an argument, how is anyone going to believe you? I mean, you can scream hurtful things to the other person and say, "I'm going to beat you up if you keep talking your intelligent stuff." You can't do that. It doesn't win you an argument. So going back to, the same thing I was talking about with Hitler being, reincarnated into Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is, hail Trump, and we're going to start marching to Mexico and taking him over or some shit, right? What the fuck are you, where is the logic? And I'm seeing it everywhere on the Trump thing. He's Hitler, when clearly, if you look at fucking reality around you, what happens in reality, if you realize who Hitler was, how a socialist, if you look at all his plans and what he did and the stuff that he spoke in front of the people, it's very similar to Barack Obama. It's very similar to Hillary Clinton. It's the same ideology. Even Marxism is very similar to Hillary Clinton as opposed to Donald Trump. Very similar. The Communist Party is voting for Hillary Clinton. They're socialists. They're Nazis. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I mean, I'm not saying it as in, it's an opinion, that Hillary Clinton's a socialist, and of course Adolf Hitler was a socialist. I'm not saying it as an opinion. It's obviously true. I mean, it's a valid argument when it's true. You know what I mean? So start using your logic into this as well, because you need some sort of logic. If you think Hitler's, use that terminology. Come on. Reincarnated? That means Hitler died 80 years ago or whatever the fuck, right? 70 years ago. Hitler died 70 years ago, and all of a sudden, it was just actually when Donald Trump was born. Wow, I just thought of that. Hey, who knows? Maybe you're onto something. Wow, that was 70 years ago. And then, hey, who knows? Maybe Donald Trump is the reincarnation of Trump. I'm coming up with logic in my head now, I can't believe I just made that fucking point. Anyways, but clearly he's not, okay? But you can make a valid argument off of just what I said, right? But people don't want to make any type of arguments. They just want to say, I'm right, you're wrong, end of discussion. Let's stop talking about facts and stuff. You keep talking, oh yeah, you're so dumb. You know, like, if you call somebody dumb, that's not an argument. If you name call somebody, that's not an argument. I'm sorry. That's not valid. If you come up with reason and evidence, I'll let you talk. For example, if I believe in Christianity and you believe in atheism, I'm going to leave you the floor. I'm not going to, stop you at any point. I'll keep it in the back of my mind. Oh, he made this point, so I'll contradict that, and I have reason and evidence for my argument. But I'll give him the floor, him or her the floor. If I was a Christian and you're an atheist, give you the floor, and then say whatever you got to say. But when you run out of arguments, I might have to jump in, and be like, okay, well, I got a lot of arguments on this, so let me start with this and this and this. That's how conversations of this type work. They don't work by saying, oh, you're just a Christian, I already won, and then have the high ground because you're an idiot. Like, literally, if you don't have an argument, but you believe what you're saying, I don't know. It sounds like an idiot to me. I mean, what's the definition of stupid? Come on. Knowing you're fucking wrong, but still saying it. That's pretty much it, right? You don't have any logic, reason, evidence, or anything. So pretty much, keep this video short, because that's the only thing I really wanted to touch on was in this video was have some sort of argument. And it's clear to me that a lot of people don't have arguments going up into the big stage of debating somebody. Science is so good on this and that. Well, if I was a Christian, I'd be like, okay, well, this is how you think that Christianity is a religion. This is how I think science is a religion. And now, what religion were you? Oh, you're not a religion. So why are you talking about this religion? I could create a case, but if you're going up to the big stage and you don't have an argument, you lose. End of story. You can think of it in the moment, an argument, that's fine. People do it all the time. But if you still cannot fabricate an argument at all during having an intelligent conversation with someone, why even have that conversation? You lost. Alright, I guess that's it. Just use reason and evidence in your daily routine, and hopefully it'll make you more of an intelligent person. Alright, see you guys.